Today's podcast is sponsored by Fire Facilities Incorporated, expert engineers, designers, and manufacturers of steel training towers, burn rooms, and mobile units that are all made in the USA. All right, this is going to be take two. So welcome back to 3-Point Firefighter. Today, my guest is Justyn Fraize. Now, Justyn is a 23-year veteran of the fire service, and he's currently assigned to Squad 18 in the Colony, Texas, as a driver operator. He's an adjunct instructor for the North Central Texas College Fire Academy, and he has taught at various other conferences around the country. Now, Justyn also has an associate's in fire science technology. He's also certified as a Master Firefighter and Instructor and an active member of the Hot Fools, and also an active member with the Georgia Smoke Divers, which he may bring up. I don't know. But I'd say more importantly, Justyn is probably proudest that he's been married to his wife, Angela, for 20 years. He has a son in college, a daughter in high school. Brother Fraize, welcome to the show.
Man, dude, thank you so much for having me.
You're doing me an honor. So here's how you got on the show. I don't know if you knew this. I get a text from Eddie Still. Bro, you got to have this guy on there.
That's my little bro, man.
Well, if Eddie says it, I'm doing it. Eddie's about the nicest guy I've ever met. Big fan, big fan. Great, so if he says it, even if he said, you need to go back with your first wife, well, okay, I wouldn't do that. Eddie's super nice up to that point.
Yeah, no, so Eddie's super nice enough to know that he would not recommend you go back to your first wife, I'm sure. So he's a good dude.
He really is. He's top notch.
Yeah.
And for a truckie, I've seen him move a line, flowing and moving, and for a minute there, I thought he was a real firefighter. But it turns out he was on a truck.
So he was an engine. He was a water nerd for a little while, and he was super proud of all the water nerd stuff. And then he got into a truck, and then that's just what happens. You immediately just talk trash about water nerds, and you're a truck guy, and that's just how it goes.
That's exactly right. As long as nobody outside the fire service bashes, that's fine.
No, that's it.
So let's start off with a couple things here. Now, I know you've taught at the Bearers of the Oath. Where else have you taught?
So Bearers of the Oath, and actually, man, let me back it up. Where did we start off at? Chris Kessinger's Prioritized Search class that he did in Ohio a few years ago, man. I don't remember what year we did that. It was like 2020, maybe, like COVID, and we still just went to Ohio and did hood rat stuff with our friends. But there I met Shane, Sean Duffy, Arthur Ashley, and Chris Kessinger, and he brought this group of guys together that had really never met each other. And we're upstairs in this room getting ready to put together this a live fire search class. And we're all talking techniques and how we should lay this stuff out. And everybody was just instantly on the same page. It was a full-on, did we just become best friends? Yep. You want to do cottage in the garage? Yep. And that's how that started, man. And so I'm going out to Bearers of the Oath a couple of times. I kind of missed this year. I put everything on hold studying for a captain's test this year. And I'm hoping to get back to teaching with Shane this year, man. I'm excited about it.
You mentioned a lot of great guys in that conversation. Big fan of Chris Kessinger and Sean Duffy and on and on.
Just good dudes,
man. Passionate. And you know what?
The coolest.
I'm sorry, you go, brother.
I'm sorry. Like the coolest thing for me was we'd interacted. All of us had interacted with each other in kind of the same circles on social media, and so you have this impression of what those guys are, and then it's like to meet them in real life, and then they were all as advertised, man. That was probably the best part of the whole thing.
You know what's funny? Like you and I were talking before we started recording, having Chris on here and Sean and everything, and talking to them before. Their passion and just their general niceness came across, and I was like, man, this is going to be a good conversation. But to be fair, there's not.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody that I haven't really connected with that way. But they just, Sean especially, man, there's just like that it's like, Mark Alone.
I've never met him. I follow him. I know who he is, but we've never
way. You talk to him for a couple minutes, or like you felt like you've known him your whole life, and you figure out how he is in the fire service. So where else have you taught besides Bearers of the Oath?
So Bearers of the Oath, the Prioritized Search Conference, Corley Moore had his benefit for the fallen deal, and he actually invited Shane to come down, and Shane flew in here, and then we all went up to Oklahoma City and taught there. Various conferences just around here, like Fools conferences and whatnot. Lewisville, Texas puts on Seth Taylor is another dude you need to get on the show. Another great guy. He's a truckie in Louisville, Texas, and he puts together a fire conference. It used to just be a truck conference, and he's expanded that to some engine operations and leadership. We just did that a couple weeks ago, and yeah, man, anybody who's dumb enough to give me a platform to speak on, and a room to set on fire and throw students in, man, I'm down to go.
That's awesome, man. That's what it's about. It's you guys that are moving the fire service in a positive direction. You know,
Oh yeah, man. Like we did that the truck conference that we did. Like that's we so there's three of us in the colony. We mentioned smoke numbers. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point. But we got invited to teach at this truck conference, and I had already been back to Georgia a couple times, and teaching search at Fire Academy. But we had all these guys come through this truck conference doing search stuff, and I'm watching these guys search, and these guys coming through this class just I thought everybody knew how to search. I just took it for granted that, hey, I know how to do this. And when you realize that, man, there's a bunch of guys that are behind on how to do this, it was kind of eye opening. Like, man, maybe I can help do something about that. And it's been cool to get an opportunity to get out and do that.
yeah. What I've noticed a couple of things when it comes to searching. One, I know a lot of people treat VES or window initiated search as an advanced skill, which it seems to me it should
Yeah.
be completely basic. It should be used a lot more.
Yes.
And I was just talking to a friend of mine today about this, and we kind of we don't go back and forth. We just talk about this one thing a lot. I'm not a big fan of the truck company going through the same door as the line. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you see that default setting happen a lot too. I still see people searching with ticks, but not using them and sticking to the wall. They'll
Uh-huh.
stick to the wall. I've
Yep.
actually seen people on a RIT team in training go in, and as soon as they go through the door, they say, "Okay, let's take a left-hand search pattern." I'm like,
Uh,
"No,
oh,
no,
yeah.
no, no, no."
Because that's what you're taught. It's the God love them. They're doing the best they can, but the they're teaching us to the I don't even know who they're teaching it to. There's no level that should be low enough that, hey, we should just go left or right. Um, yeah, what really opened my eyes in this conference specifically was a guy doing a search
Mhm.
pattern, and he's on the wall, but he's searching up and down the wall. He's just sweeping up the wall. I'm like, hey dog, like, what are you looking for, man? I'm looking for means of egress, and there's a victim, a dummy 9 inches away from his right arm. Like if he literally just went from this right arm to just put his hand down here, I'm like, hey man, how about we search in this room for the victims? Because they don't have any of this gear or any of this cool stuff we're wearing, and they're not moving unless you put your hands on them and drag
Mhm.
them out. So that was the big eye opener for me. And I've experienced we've got some smaller, like we call them, they're fox in a box houses in the colony, and you get two or three engine mamas in the hallway with a hose line, and you're not getting those rooms. And so that's we have actually gone out and done window initiated search simply because we couldn't fit down a hallway
Mhm.
with the hose line. So
Yep.
yeah.
And I've also noticed too that people like to. Well, I think this is human nature in general. Is go out the door you came in. And
Hmm.
I've always tried to teach, once you get the victim, is there a better way out? Take 2 seconds quickly and see what happened. And if you have to go
Yeah.
back that way, the way you came in, that's fine. But don't have that default setting that, okay, I've crawled through, down a hallway through 2 rooms. Let's drag them out. And
Yeah.
another thing that drives me nuts, you
Absolutely.
got me on a soapbox now. I hope you're happy.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for my service.
Well, here's nothing that gets me, and I've seen this a lot, where and people will treat dummies differently than they'll treat people. So we just
Yeah.
I don't know, a couple months ago, we were doing some live burns with local departments, and I saw consistently people finding the baby dummy, scooping it under its arm, standing up, and walking out, grabbing a
Yep.
victim that's easy to lift, a kid, grabbing them, standing up, and walking out, and every single time I'm like, is that the best practice? Where's the good air? If there's
Yeah.
good air in there, where's
Yep.
that? Tell me I'm wrong,
Yep.
brother. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. But so everything that we do on the fire ground is based on the conditions that we get when we arrive. And the conditions are everything from the structure, the smoke, the fire, and the dude that's searching with you. Um, so you know we try to. I want to be as realistic as I can in training, but we don't really get to do live fire training in the colony. We don't have a place to do that yet, so we have to do that. Hey, it's 900 degrees at the ceiling, and we're
Oh,
we're forcing these guys that we're having to make them hey, play the prop and imagine that we're down low. And at the same time, you're wanting them, hey man, let's try to do this scenario as real, whatever the conditions that we actually have are what we really have, and so there's a balance there. But yeah, the whole default to hey, since it's a baby, let's just stand up and walk out. Get out as quickly as you can, but think about what conditions do you have in the space that you're in to make that the best outcome for your
what
victim.
else are you seeing that students are doing default settings that drive you nuts that you're trying to break bad habits?
The downward facing dog, crawling around, or the human centipede, where face down, butt up, crawling down the hallway. Um, if you hand them an imager, one of two things happens: they forget that they have an imager, or they just live inside of the imager, not using it for its intended purpose. Hey man, this is a tool to keep me oriented. Hey, do I see anything awesome here? Anything that piques my interest? And they walk around with this tick, 6 inches in front of their face the entire time, and they're losing situational awareness and living inside of that thing. Those are the big ones that I see. And then these guys just don't know. They do these search drills, and you see them on the ground, and it looks like they're sorting Skittles and M&Ms on the floor. They pick up every little thing they see. I'm like, hey man, we're down here. We're looking for human-sized things, and we're gonna extend into that space. They still want to hang out on that wall and sweep up and down the wall rather than anchoring off of that wall and leaning out into the space and actually looking for people, because I don't know of any documented cases of victims propped up vertically against a wall where they've hey man, here he is, like he velcroed himself to the wall and lit the house on fire. I haven't
Now,
seen
if
that yet.
anybody's going to do that in training, you know it's going to be Dave Mellon, right?
Oh, absolutely, Dave Mellon. Oh man, that's another one that just one of my man crushes. I love that dude. Just absolute psychopath in every single way that you can be one, and he's so much fun. And he has the most shit talkingest kid in the history of the planet. I don't know if you've
I
met
have
his
not yet.
son, but he brought him to Bears of the Oath, and he brought him out to the benefit for the fallen, and yeah, dude, that dude's his kid's shit talking game is strong. So if when he listens to this, just let him know, like, yeah, he's gonna Fraize appreciates his son's shit talking ability. It's good.
We've talked about search a little bit, which I didn't plan to, but you put me on a soapbox, so I got all shitty. And I'm not
There
even
you
on a
go.
I'm not even a truck guy. I've been on the truck a couple of times. It's not me. I graduated high school for one, so that's a big one. I like reading.
That's huge. Yeah.
Sorry, I made myself laugh on that one. But I do want to talk to you about mindset. So I've noticed in the fire service, there is more talk about getting the right mindset, about flow state and condition black, and there's more pointing towards the mental aspect of the fire service, which in the 28 years I've been in, I haven't heard. I've heard nothing but the physical challenges, the physical prep, very little of the mental. But it seems like the past 5-7 years I've been hearing nothing but. So talk to me about that. Why am I hearing that, and what do you think about it? Where does it fit in?
Man, I don't know where it happened, but it's the kind of the same thing for me for the first 15, 18 years of the fire service. Mindset never really, that wasn't a buzzword in the fire service, and I don't know if it's a cultural change with the whole this weaker generation. Back in my day, we didn't think about mindset. I don't know. Maybe it's um I, I wish I've got no answer for that one. You stumped me on this one.
Three
But
point firefighter one,
man,
Justyn 0.
oh no, I'm coming back. Stand by. I haven't had it. I'm down to like one Rockstar a day. I'm trying to reduce my caffeine
Oh
intake,
well, I'm
so
sorry.
that's why I'm not fully functioning yet. Yeah, I know it's a terrible, terrible waste of my brain, but I think it has a lot to do with we're talking more about mental health in the fire service. We're talking more about the whole motivation versus discipline and all that stuff. So I think the mindset thing is really kind of part of that conversation. Um, the we don't have an option to lose. Like it, I mean, it happens, but that's there's no plan B, right? I've never walked into a fist fight planning on losing, but I've woken up staring at the ceiling a few times. Um, So my mindset going into that is my mindset is to win. And I think that that's just part of, you know, taking the fire service further than we used to be, whereas, you know, it wasn't really anything that we thought about. We just assumed that we're going to go in there and win. But now we're making a conscious effort that, hey, this is my mindset. I, I'm going to win. I'm putting this in my head. I'm putting it out into the universe that, I'm going to be successful at whatever it is I'm going to be doing today. Chief Rice, is one of our battalion chiefs in the colony. He physically crosses a bridge when he drives to the colony, Texas, and he kind of, metaphor there is that he mentally crosses that bridge as well. It's kind of the same for me when I'm coming to work and I turn left onto Main Street. That's where the switch gets flipped for me. I might be listening to some Texas country music or whatever on the drive in, but when I turn that on the Main Street, it's straight to my death metal, angry music because I'm getting my mind right for the day. Like I'm getting in that mindset that whatever I'm going to do today, I'm going to win.
I love it. It's funny how it does play into things. Now, for me, I have to, and this is an absolute must for me. I have to think about running, exercising the night before. So I've already done it tonight. Where usually after dinner, I will say either out loud or think to myself, "Tomorrow you're going to run, and tomorrow you're going to exercise, and tomorrow you're going to have a great time doing it." And if I don't do that, I've
Yeah,
noticed if I wake up and I get ready to go to the gym, I'm like, "Ah, crap!" It just my mind's not there, and I usually have a
yeah,
bad time. I'm trying to use it more when I'm teaching classes or traveling and teaching, whatever it is. But there is a mindset there, and I'd love to know the science behind it.
yeah.
Um, Trucky's not going to tell me the science behind it. Um,
You got dang right we're not. Um, but I'm the same thing. So that when I turn on the Main Street and I turn on my angry music, it's good. I do a workout every morning as soon as I get to work. I'm usually at the station. Man, our shift changes at 7. I'm there a little bit after 5.
nice.
I'm gonna go. My rig goes. My gear goes on the rig almost 2 hours early. If I'm there, like I'm ready to take calls. I'm ready to do hood rat stuff. But angry music out, and open up the bay doors. I drag crap outside. I do all my workouts outside. So I just want to make it suck more.
Nice.
And I'm gonna do some kind of workout. Usually I do it on air. Here lately I haven't because we don't have a cascade system at my station anymore. They moved it to a newer firehouse. But I'm gonna do some kind of workout. And then again, I never really thought of it, you know, in that way of mindset. It's just this is my it's almost a religion at this point. Like I do it, it has to happen, and it wrecks my day if I don't get that in.
Yeah.
If I got to swing out to another station, I got to gather up gear, or I go and teach a class, and I come back and I got to throw stuff in the extractor, before I get there in the morning. It actually kind of wrecks my day, but getting that win early in the morning is my that's how I get my mind right for the
Man,
day.
that's absolutely me too. I mean, I go to a gym, but if I don't start my day with that, my day sucks the rest of the time. When we talk about our mindset, now, real quick, when you turn on the death metal, I assume you're talking about Wham.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, like
Yeah,
George Michael, 80s man, he
get
really gets me
he's
fired
right
up.
here. He lives in
Yeah,
here.
yes, he's right there, absolutely. God help me, Jesus. Yeah, my wife will get in the truck and I've left it on at some point in time, and it comes on and the volume is never below all the way on, and she turns on my truck. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? Oh my God, I don't know. There's a lot of shit wrong with me, sweetheart, that I don't even know where to start.
My big one is
But
Inner Sandman. Once if I'm going to the
yeah,
gym, I have to put in Inner Sandman, the remix of it. Love it.
yeah. The mindset thing, I guess it's a mindset. I tell people that I hate losing more than I like to win.
I like that.
Like when I show up, like if I show up and I win, I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's what was supposed to happen. But if I lose, holy crap! Like I hate losing. So I got that's how I guess that would be my mindset.
Yeah.
Hate losing more than I like to win.
So mindset to me kind of leads right into motivation. How do you see that transfer going? When you talk about motivation in the fire service, are you talking about trying to stay motivated to do your job or going to the next level?
I think it's kind of all of it, man. And I'm not a disciple of Jocko, but I've listened to all the podcasts and read all the books.
That's a
But I
disciple,
like,
by the way.
but I like. I don't know if it was him that said it for somebody else that motivation gets you to the starting line, the discipline gets you to the finish line. Um, it's, the motivation is what, all right, hey man, this is the direction I want to go, and it's the discipline that gets you there. Um, so when I talk about it, the motivation, hey, like I want to promote. Cool, man. That's awesome. You're motivated to promote. Now do you have the discipline to get in that book 5 hours a day every day for the next 7 months? So when you show up, you win. And that's really kind of how I break down the difference between the
Now, have
two.
you ever lost the passion for the job? For example, I did. I was an absolute bag of shit at the job. I was just come in being lazy, did bare minimum, blamed everybody for all my problems, blah blah blah, and then I got motivated again. Have you ever had those down moments? It doesn't seem like you
Oh,
have.
dude. Oh, holy crap! Like nobody's ever out there posting all their dirty laundry on Facebook, right? Like that's all you see is the best on their
Mhm.
Instagram, and it's all how happy smiling faces and shit. But absolutely, man, like this, 23 years of this, and you've been what 29, you
28,
said, or
28.
how long? 28. Like you can't be up that whole time. It's impossible. Like if anybody says they are, like I want to get on whatever they're on. Um, I mean, yeah, that's a good drug, dog. But yeah, absolutely, man. I've worked for some leaders that just crushed me, and worked on some crews that crushed me. Then there's just the personal stuff that goes on outside of the fire service that comes with you, and absolutely, like I got to a point several years back where I actually thought about not being a fireman anymore. My wife and I had that conversation, because I was just that miserable. And then you know I wish I could say like there was some epiphany moment that kind of drug me out of it, but then just one day I'm like, hey, I just still love doing this. Like I had to pause and hey man, this is actually still what I really love to do. Um, I had one of my kids that came through fire academy, man. He awesome dude. He works in Arlington, Texas now, but he called me the day they got hired. He works in the city that I live in. He was working for the street department or the parks department, and he called me my nickname from him was Uncle Fraize. Uncle Fraize. But this dude called me Uncle Fraize. They called me, man. I was on my knees in the street, man. I'm so happy, and like I'm like, hey man, that's awesome, bro. But I want you to stop right there. Is what's that? I want you to remember that feeling that you have right now, dude. If you could take that and bottle it, but I want you to remember that feeling right now, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to call me probably in the 3 to 5 year range. And you're going to call me and tell me about all the shit that's going down in your department and how awful it is and everything that's wrong with it. You're going to call me bitching about it. And I'm going to tell you, hey, man, do you remember when you called me that day on your knees in the street because they called you and offered you a job? And I kind of have to do that to myself every once in a while, man. Like, fires make everything better. I know for the homeowner, it doesn't make their life better, but all the negativity and all the shit that's going down and the firehouse politics and all that stuff, man, the busier you are, like the more that kind of
Yeah.
goes away. And we're not burning the world down in the Colony, Texas. So, dude, we catch a fire and it makes everything right with the world for a little while, and that might have been what kind of drug me out of that funk. I think was actually, yeah, it kind of was a fire. Got moved to another shift, caught some fires, and yeah, man, I'm back on the horse again. But it's sometimes you have to take it back to that day, man. Like, hey, I get to do this, dude. Have you got the baseball swing a Halligan through a front door? Like, is there anything more freaking hood rat? Like, just like you get to do that. You walk up with this 10-pound metal tool and swing it into a door frame and smoke this door and break it open. I get to do that shit. How freaking cool is that?
My big joke is I feel bad for astronauts and fighter pilots because they don't get to be firefighters.
Yeah,
We really have the best job in the world.
it's
Yeah.
pretty
So
rad.
one of my big.
Like now, I'd like to fly a jet though. I mean,
Oh, not me. I hate
I
flying.
do that.
I got to fly a lot to teach, and I've got to be.
That's because you're not driving. Like if you're driving that thing, that's a whole other.
I don't know,
I
but
think that
even
needs
if
to be
I
cool.
wasn't driving and the engine died, I wouldn't fall 30,000 feet.
There is
Okay, so
that.
there's that. And that's going to do it for part one with David Fraize. Check back next Monday for part two. Stay safe, brothers and sisters. Today's podcast was sponsored by Fire Facilities, designers and manufacturers of realistic, built-to-last training structures and mobile units for 30 years. Make training count. Visit firefacilities.com for more information.